Amigos, a verdade sempre prevalece. Nada que está oculto permanece escondido para sempre. Uma denúncia bombástica acaba de explodir nos Estados Unidos, envolvendo Alexandre de Moraes, o STF e a Rede Globo. As revelações são gravíssimas e expõem os detalhes de um suposto golpe contra Jair Bolsonaro nas eleições de 2022. Para entender melhor o que está acontecendo, convido você a assistir ao vídeo completo. É fundamental que você deixe o seu like, comente e compartilhe, fortalecendo assim nossa luta por um Brasil mais justo e transparente. Juntos, faremos a verdade prevalecer.
O ex-funcionário do Departamento do Estado dos Estados Unidos, Mike Pence, cita claramente Alexandre de Moraes e a parceria com a CIA na intenção de interferir diretamente com a liberdade de expressão no Brasil para facilitar a vitória de um candidato e dificultar a de outro. Facilitar a vitória da esquerda e dificultar a vitória da direita. Esse não é um cara qualquer que está falando, que fique bem claro. É um ex-oficial do Departamento do Estado nos Estados Unidos, que desenhou claramente como que funcionou o sistema, como que o dinheiro americano influenciou as eleições no Brasil. Será que foi para salvar a nossa democracia? Ele disse, 2 semanas depois da vitória do Bolsonaro, a CIA mandou um pessoal aqui. Gente, parece conspiração, eu sei. Mas todas as conspirações que nós falávamos há 5, 6 anos atrás, todas se tornaram verdade. Agora não é nossa essa conspiração não, tá? É um ex-funcionário do Departamento de Estado nos Estados Unidos, que citou explicitamente Alexandre de Moraes, Suprema Corte Brasileira, Globo, como um conluio para impedir a vitória do Bolsonaro. E criminalizar quem questione as eleições. Nós chegamos no fundo do poço. Se tem um vídeo que você precisa assistir hoje, é esse. Eu vou até sair de tela para não distrair a sua atenção. Essa é a participação do Mike Pence, um ex-funcionário do alto escalão do Departamento do Estado dos Estados Unidos durante o governo Trump. Ele era responsável pela parceria cibernética internacional de comunicação e ele participou do podcast do Joe Rogan recentemente. Joe Rogan, o podcast de maior audiência no mundo. E ele falou sobre a influência e a interferência da CIA nas eleições brasileiras. Isso aqui é um escândalo gigantesco. Vou deixar você assistir, vou sair da tela e presta atenção nisso aqui.
The DNC side of the economics until Ukraine in 2014. That was when there became a bipartisan consensus on the need to effectively go to war and launch this big energy sanctions operation against Russia. That's who's running that CEPS program. It's both sides of the political aisle, but both of them hate Trump. Both of them hate populists, whether it's the U.S. with Trump, Bolsonaro in Brazil, and again, the whole suite of EU countries that we just talked about. And they descended on Brazil just 2 weeks after Bolsonaro was elected in 2018. The Atlantic Council and NED held all these meetings about how Bolsonaro only won because of basically social media and end-to-end encrypted chats like WhatsApp and Telegram, and that we need to basically stop Bolsonaro's presidency in its tracks and stop him from getting reelected by creating a censorship infrastructure in Brazil that is powerful and institutionally as wide and deep as our other diplomatic work. So NDI, which I should note, Hunter Biden was on the chairman's advisory board of NDI, the DNC CIA wing. So if anyone is a little curious as to why the CIA intervened on the Justice Department investigation, folks remember the IRS wanted to question Kevin Morris, Hunter Biden's lawyer, who paid his taxes for 5 years, and then the CIA intervened and told them, do not look into who is funding Hunter Biden. I find it curious that the CIA's DNC branch, Hunter Biden was on the chairman's advisory board, but so NDI sets up this sprawl of coalitions called D4D, Design for Democracy, and Design for Democracy, in tandem with this CEPS program, goes on to work with the censorship court, the Moraes, the censorship Voldemort on their TSE court. It's basically the election management and censorship body of their Supreme Court. This is the guy who has gone to war with Elon Musk. They help that censorship court set up a disinformation task force, and their own institutional assets get put on the advisory committee of the Brazilian censorship court to direct the censorship policies of the same institution that banned X from Brazil, that seized Starlink's assets. They worked with the universities, the FGV DAP, and other very significant Brazilian universities. They set up disinformation centers in there and got academic thought leadership published in Brazil about the need to pass anti-misinformation laws. Their own NDI fellows and operatives were publicly testifying to the Brazilian parliament on the need to pass these laws. They were publicly speaking to the prosecutors association groups in Brazil, telling them they need to prosecute misinformation on this. They were funding millions of dollars to Brazilian media institutions to promote internet censorship and to promote the banning effectively of any pro-Bolsonaro content on social media or on end-to-end encrypted chats. The USAID then kicked in millions of dollars of funding to Internews, which is another U.S. government-funded media projection arm, to promote media literacy programs, information integrity programs, countering mis and disinformation programs in Brazil. So at every level, Brazilian media companies, they partner with Globo, for example, the largest media outlet in Brazil. The media institutions, the universities and thought leaders, the politicians, the judges, it was full spectrum. It was the same thing that we do when we try to regime change a country. By the way, this is in USAID's charter. This is one of the reasons they're able to get away with this. In USAID's charter, it allows USAID to capacity build assets to do so-called judiciary reform, which means influencing the laws and the structure of the judges, and to be able to have our foreign aid money get laws passed or get structural changes made to the court system there. And this is what CEPS did. This State Department, CIA front censorship organization, they developed a strategy they called EMBs, election management bodies, which is basically focusing in on the court system of different countries that are in charge with adjudicating elections, in order to get them to grow a censorship capacity to censor the ability for people to question their elections. And they've had all these stakeholder meetings. Some of them are really funny. Some of them, they said, well, some of our EMB partners didn't want to actually, didn't think they could pull this off. They couldn't convince the other political stakeholders in their country to grow this censorship capacity. And they advised them about how they could cleverly use rhetoric to disguise the programs. Don't call it a counter-disinformation program if you think that'll ruffle too many feathers. Instead, simply call it strategic communications. And because every government agency has some sort of public affairs branch, some sort of communications capacity. Simply say that this is for monitoring and engaging in strategic communications, and then you can mass flag the accounts of the U.S. State Department's political opponents they want to stop from winning the election.
Jesus. O ex-funcionário do Departamento do Estado dos Estados Unidos, Mike Pence, cita claramente Alexandre de Moraes e a parceria com a CIA na intenção de interferir diretamente com a liberdade de expressão no Brasil para facilitar a vitória de um candidato e dificultar a de outro. Facilitar a vitória da esquerda e dificultar a vitória da direita. Esse não é um cara qualquer que está falando, que fique bem claro. É um ex-oficial do Departamento do Estado nos Estados Unidos, que desenhou claramente como que funcionou o sistema, como que o dinheiro americano influenciou as eleições no Brasil. Será que foi para salvar a nossa democracia? Ele disse, 2 semanas depois da vitória do Bolsonaro, a CIA mandou um pessoal aqui. Gente, parece conspiração, eu sei. Mas todas as conspirações que nós falávamos há 5, 6 anos atrás, todas se tornaram verdade. Agora não é nossa essa conspiração não, tá? É um ex-funcionário do Departamento de Estado nos Estados Unidos, que citou explicitamente Alexandre de Moraes, Suprema Corte Brasileira, Globo, como um conluio para impedir a vitória do Bolsonaro. E criminalizar quem questione as eleições. Nós chegamos no fundo do poço.